Hey, John.
Hey, Kat. Welcome back to another month. This is the Growing Your Spirit podcast. This is the second episode. Last month, if you missed it, we talked about joy. Had a very fruitful episode, I thought. Great conversations with Amy Franks. And this month, the subject we journaled about for about 28 days was patience.
It was 28 days.
Yeah, 4 weeks exactly.
Perfect timing. Yes, patience. This was an interesting one for me.
Yeah.
I learned a lot that I learned that I don't know a lot about patience, honestly.
That's true. I learned a lot about putting it into practice and how hard that is. And practice versus theory kind of things.
Yeah.
Those were my key takeaways. But yes, the month of July, patience.
Patience.
We really hope you enjoy this episode. Patience, baby. All right. So when I think about patience, I think a lot about not reacting emotionally off the cuff, like being patient in the moment.
Right.
Because I struggle with it a lot. I talked a lot last month about me living life, reacting to each moment too emotionally, I feel like. So having that centeredness of joy, trying to reflect on it to keep me grounded.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of patience, I mean, I felt like that was a lot of friction fought directly in every moment where I could have acted with patience when I got frustrated or sad or angry. I mean, usually the only thing I can think of off the cuff is just anger because I have to wait for something. And how dare I have to wait for something? So
Right.
There was a lot of humility this month, I feel like, that I had to deal with. Patience makes you be intentional. That's what we're focusing on every day as we reflect, being intentional about these attributes, characteristics. And patience just really rubs up against my pride, my and the fact that I don't have any humility sometimes in terms of I can't take a left turn. Someone got in my way. Why? How dare they slow down my life, cause interruptions to my life? That's what I kept on coming back to is every time I got impatient, it was because you think highly of yourself. And in my terms, not every time, but most of the times, because I'm very important in the narrative of me and how I'm thinking about my life every day. And so why would someone else be first, be in front of me, be more important?
Right.
Be the priority.
You are number one in John's life.
Yes.
So John needs to take care of John.
So yeah, that's where I wasn't patient enough. And I mean, that's what I reflected on usually. But I was successful in remembering my exercise, that I was trying to be patient or think about patience. And so that's where I feel like the humility of reflecting on, I can wait. And luckily in this chapter of my life, there aren't a lot of pressing matters in terms of tending to children or something else, or super 10 employees that are waiting for every decision that I make. So there wasn't a lot of pressure, but mentally, I'm going to put on pressure every moment of, I have to have my coffee right now. And these glasses are dirty. And who didn't clean these glasses?
What an inconvenience.
Yes. Highly inconvenienced. Did you feel inconvenienced by anything in particular?
I did. That's one of the words that I wrote down for a trigger for me. So I know that for me, I lose patience primarily when I'm faced with stupidity. So
there are a lot of stupid people out there. Sometimes me.
And sometimes me.
Right.
All right. So for me, I tried to understand what a deeper meaning for patience was.
Yeah.
More so than just, Kat, you need to be patient in this moment.
Right.
The person in front of you at the grocery store line is having a personal conversation with the cash register. Yeah, right. With the cashier. and this is inconveniencing you and whatever, just, it's fine. It's going to be 2 more minutes. Just chill out. Okay. So I can handle that. I'm pretty good at those moments.
Good.
The moments that I'm not good at are when people are just not functioning on what I would consider a really intelligent level. And I think, why? Why would anyone do this?
Right.
Why would anyone not know that they should be in that lane instead of this lane?
So it's more existential, where you're trying to when you put yourself in other people's shoes, you're always like, they're stupid. Is that the conclusion you came to every time?
No, that sounds
I'm
really
trying
arrogant.
to think. I know.
I hope not.
Sorry.
No.
Way I'm challenging you.
That's a good mirror check for me. Like, Kat, are you being arrogant?
Right.
So
no, because I'm arrogant. That's why I was saying. That's why it came to humility for me, is minor inconveniences.
So that's what I liked about what you were just saying. If I can make a comment about that.
Yeah.
You associated it with the word humility, that patience requires humility. And that never came into my mind during this month, because I was really trying to collect other words that are intertwined with patience, or that facilitate patience, or that are required. And humility is a great one. I definitely should have gotten to that point. So I'm thankful that we're having this conversation, obviously. And
yeah,
that's a very good one. All right. So for me, the word association that came the strongest for me was perseverance.
Yeah.
So patience is perseverance. It's tied to perseverance. And also patience is grace.
Yes.
So I wrote down that patience is a combination of grace and forgiveness.
Nice.
So that was a thought process that I needed to allow to sink in. I know that throughout my daily life, I really require a lot of grace.
Yeah.
I'm just the type of person who I really try and do my best, and I try and do a lot.
Right.
And then I get to a point where I can't do anymore. I'm burnout, or I've overcommitted myself, and I just can't, as a human being, accomplish all that I've said I would. And I hate that I do that. It's coming from a good place. But anyway, the result is that other people around me, I require grace from them.
Right.
I wasn't being stupid,
No.
but I also wasn't being entirely realistic about what I could accomplish. And so in that case, other people are having to be have grace with me, which is being patient with me.
Yeah.
Otherwise they'd write me off, like, oh, I can't rely on this person.
Right.
But if they have grace and forgiveness and say, that's okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Let's keep going down the road in whatever capacity we go down the road in. That's patience. Yes. And so I'm so thankful for the people who have had patience with me, because I know it's a big deal. As it's a big part of our social interaction. It comes into play a lot more, I think, than we realize. It's not just the woman standing in front of me having the personal conversation at the grocery store. Right. It's really throughout so many things in our daily lives.
Yeah, I like what you're talking about in my mind of patience. Obviously, it's its own thing, but it's a reference to so many other things. Like we were talking about humility with me, and then endurance or perseverance, you said. But it gives people, when you stop assuming one thing about why they're interrupting my life, you can wait. You have some patience, and you find, grace, obviously, but you find more about their character. Like your well-intentions and your boldness in taking on a lot of things at once is on one end of the spectrum bold. And then on the other, if you're too bold and you take a lot of things, it can cause disruptions in your life and other people's that are relying on you.
Yeah, it can come across as reckless.
Right. And so, but yeah, just
reckless abandon.
Yes. in everything, moderation, just like a lot of things. If you can moderate that boldness, you're helping out so many people, and you're also allowing yourself space to, regenerate, so you don't get burnt out and other things.
Yeah. Okay, so that brings me to another thought, where one of the things that I realized through this process was that the person that I need to be most patient with is myself.
Yes.
Tell me. You have the same revelation?
No, I believed it.
Tell me.
No, just the amount of grace. I mean, I get frustrated quickly, just like I do with other people, about why they're interrupting me. But then I know when I'm reflecting on, at the end of the day, usually in reflection after the fact, because like I said, I react emotionally in the moment. But I can say, well, my intentions were good, like you said. And so maybe if I'm patient with myself, I'll learn from this opportunity where I was short-tempered, or I successfully, perhaps every time victory, you waited on someone else. You say, I had grace for that person. Next time, maybe I can have grace for myself, in terms of you're not going to get it right every time.
Okay, that's good. That's good words. You're saying, or what I'm getting from that is, you're learning the muscle memory of patience.
Right. Because I talked about last month, the joy muscle memory, or maybe I didn't as much as I thought I did. I talked about Joy Bank. That's what I was reflecting on. But I think you just ignited in me that I was thinking about patience as a muscle, in terms of, I was relating it back to my golf always.
Yeah.
Is building that consistency is muscle memory. If you have patience with yourself, it doesn't happen overnight, but if you build that muscle, it gets stronger. That's what I was thinking about a lot this month. Thank you.
Yeah.
When you work on it, just like a muscle, just like going to the gym, just like we're going to the, emotional, mental gym of working on these things every day. I mean, it's not getting it right every time. You don't PR every day, personal record. You don't make one of those every day in patience. But if you build just a little at a time, it compounds, and your patience muscle gets stronger, and you have more grace for other people when they're not doing well, or with yourself when you're not doing well, and it builds on top of that.
One of the things that I was trying to find books on patience that were not biblically based, because I feel like I do have the biblical sense of patience. I understand that part of it, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to understand the deeper meanings, the deeper applications, and also the modern applications of it. So I was trying to find books about patience, and perseverance was one of the keywords that I found as being related to patience. Another one was compounding. And
that's going to lead, it's going to lead straight into my notes.
Gosh, that's crazy.
Keep talking.
Cool. All right. So they were like, in this book, it's about compounding, but it's not about compounding interest in your investments.
Right.
It parallels compounding steps that you're taking now that can affect your life later.
Right.
And it parallels that with compound interest in your investments. But the point was saying that you don't go become Elon Musk overnight. You don't go become an Olympic swimmer. It's the Olympics right now, guys. Yeah. So you don't go become an Olympic swimmer overnight. Like, this requires decades or months or years of putting in the work to make the baby steps, to make the good decisions towards whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And that requires so much patience.
Right.
Not only with others, but with yourself, for saying, I want to have this thing. I want to do this thing. I want to be this thing. That does not happen overnight.
Yes.
And in order to achieve it, you have to stay committed. And maybe that will play into faithfulness, which is what we'll be talking about next month. But you have to stay committed to it, knowing that it's going to come to fruition.
Right.
And that requires just this sense of peace and patience.
Yeah, waiting.
Yeah, peace and waiting. So
Can be waiting. Yeah, but there's a lot of activity into it. Just to tail on that, because I don't have any big ideas on it. But one day or one night or a couple nights, I said, patience pays off like an investment in others as well as yourself.
oof, good.
And so
Nice.
I got excited about it. Yeah, that idea of compound, not only interest. It's building on the foundation you built every day. It's getting stronger.
Yeah.
But it's an investment, like you're saying. If you're faithful to the goal, it's an investment in the future.
It is.
Future you and future other people that will remember you were patient with them, as well as you'll learn to be more patient more often when your muscle gets stronger, I would say. You can be patient with bigger things. That's where I think when you brought up compound, it's like if I'm patient in the small things, it'll compound, and there might be a big thing that I'm like, wow, it was easier to be patient than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Because I thought I would be anxious over this, and it can affect so many things. It will give you some peace waiting for it.
Yeah. So the more practiced you are in patience, the less of a big deal it is.
Right.
Instead of being anxious about it, like you just said, oh God, when is this going to happen? When is this going to come to fruition? Why do I have to go through this?
Right.
Instead of doing that, there's just this sense of knowing that it's part of the process.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, this is going to take 2 years.
Yeah. A lot of work. Just like how much work it has.
Right.
Dude, you should know. I guess that's the other thing. I know I do, at least because like I said last month, I'm activity task minded. I know that there's a lot of work. You can check off a lot of these tasks, but going in parallel, after you finish certain things, you're going to have patience for it to come to fruition, because not everything's going to be in your control.
Exactly.
So that's the part of the problem is I'm controlling and I want to be a part of everything, and you have to wait for other things.
I'm really happy that we're tracking so well, because we haven't talked again. We don't talk throughout this process.
Yes. So we word vomit.
And so, because we really want to know candidly
Right.
how it went for each other. So the helplessness factor.
Mm.
I was on the phone with the bank. I had disputed a charge that was supposed to be refunded to me. It wasn't refunded properly. The bank, anyway, the bank ends up taking the money out again.
Mm. And
I called them and I said, "What? I've sent you an email. You have all the information you need to know that this is a wrong, this charge is incorrect and it should be credited to my account." And the woman said, "Okay, well, we're doing everything we can. We're going to need 1 to 2 business days to review the material because we're a little backed up right now." And I realized, because of my experience in June, that going Karen on people doesn't really work anymore for anyone who's been trying it lately.
Right.
Maybe it used to work, but now the let me speak to your supervisor thing just seems to backfire and blow up in your face and make it worse. So I decided that that wasn't the route I would take, and that even though I felt a lack of control over the situation, I didn't like that there's a good bit of money.
Of course.
Not in my account that
there's
belongs to me.
There's a lot at stake. That's the tangible part. That'd be difficult.
But I knew that the effort that I would put into trying to fix the problem that I really couldn't control probably wasn't going to fix the problem. And that I just needed to be patient. And I think that if I hadn't been meditating on patience this month, I don't know that I would have had that same recognition in the moment. And I may have gone Karen. And this was a good, applicable exercise.
Yeah.
I would say and I was on the phone forever with them, waiting for resolution. And then in the end, it's like, no, you have to wait 2 business days. So
difficult.
But feeling helpless, I felt helpless and frustrated. And I fairly quickly, within an hour, corrected my attitude and thought, well, you know what? I know I'm right. I know it'll get resolved. It's just going to be a couple more days. So let it go. And I'm thankful that was part of this process. But I feel for all the people out there right now who are going through situations that they are completely helpless in. So someone who's currently staying in my Airbnb, they're here in Jacksonville because we have a proton clinic that provides specialized cancer treatment. And they have a 5-year-old daughter who has cancer. And they are completely helpless in this situation, right?
Yeah.
All they can do is try and get the best medical care for their daughter.
Right.
And then pray and follow the steps that the doctors suggest. And be patient. That, when we have those kinds of things, they're being patient to see if a treatment is going to work to save the life of their 5-year-old.
Right.
Me worrying about the cash that's not in my bank account that I'm okay without anyway.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
Yeah.
Perspective,
When you're patient, it gives you the opportunity I feel like, to consider other things that you wouldn't have considered when you're reacting and trying to get things done and, trying to push past the fact that maybe you should wait. You're like, no, I can do 10 things. You would still be single focused, I would say, in my mind, on like, no, there's something I have to do. Whereas if you're patient, there's opportunity to reflect on the next decision. If you're confident in that decision, because that's what one take I had too, is that patience, every day I'm asked, like we asked ourselves, what are you waiting for? And I was thinking about an opportunity. I was like, I specifically want, to talk to these people and get an opportunity to work at one place. And then when I was patient, I was like, I can't do anything. It's up to them. It gave me the opportunity, the space, mental freedom to be like, are you confident? Like, this is what you want type thing.
Oh, that's great.
You now have this opportunity while you're waiting to be confident and be committed to it.
Right. Or
do you need to consider other things that might bring you more joy if you were to achieve it? I mean, it's not once you do it, you can't go back, but it's going to be a waste of time if you don't. And so that was the juxtaposition I had or the funny, irony that I had a lot of the times is if I'm impatient and I'm trying to get something done and then I get it and I'm like, this is what I wanted. And then 3 months later, I'm like, no, that's not what I wanted. Maybe if you were patient and completely committed and reflected and intentional and meditated on the fact that you might get this, you would say, oh, this isn't exactly, I went through the steps in my mind and I want something else. And if I had waited and patient and reflected on it, maybe I would have made a different decision and saved some time instead of wasting 3 months or something like that. So that happened in small things. I can't remember the instance now. I want to bring the story up so bad, but of course I forget of this. The small opportunity of being patient saved me time. Oh, there's one instance.
You're trying to remember the story?
Yes, of like one of the stupid, maybe I'm turning left and impatient. And if I waited, it actually had saved me time instead of trying. No, that's just, I don't have the example.
That's all right. Oh, but well. I
have the idea
that on what you just commented on, that's great that you cleared your mind of the anxiety portion of patience so that you could focus on the wisdom portion of the waiting process.
Right.
Instead of worrying about whether or not you got it or you were going to get this connection, you instead were able to go, if I get this connection, I'm confident I can. Yeah. So if I get it, is it the right thing? That's great.
I wrote down more fact-finding, more self-dependency and self-esteem and contentment in terms of what is within your control to bring that thing to fruition. So I was taking the mental steps of, besides, I'm using this opportunity to be patient. So how can I use it wisely? How can I not just be mad that I have to wait? How can you actually be active in being, using this time, using this patience to your advantage? That's all it is.
That's awesome. Man, using patience to your advantage.
Right.
That's a good
Because
one.
it seems
That's
like a
good
passive
statement.
thing. It feels like patience is you being passive, you waiting. I mean,
But you were kind of turning it into more
I'm
of an
turning it. If the more I
active-
think about it, it's an active investment into your future, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Combines being faithful, committed, and something in the future,
Yeah.
or the opportunity to do that.
That's awesome. Two things, I guess. So I've been working as a fractional CFO now for a year,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm so blessed, so thankful that that switch has gone well. And I got my first new client
Good job.
from an internet source. I had done this certification thing and I had listed my name, and I randomly got a call from that.
Ooh.
And I got a new client out of it.
Yes.
And it was a year ago that I started this process. So I wasn't even actively trying to be patient to get a new client. I knew that I needed a new client in the near future sometime. I was about ready to take one on.
Yeah.
Try not to take on too much.
Ooh.
So that I can't, so that I don't disappoint people by having overcommitted myself. But it came at just the right time.
Yeah.
And so I've got to say that knowing that it was going to work out, because I did know my husband would be like, what are you doing to get new clients? How is that going? Do you need to go to a networking event? And so knowing that there are already things that I had put in place, and then I was just not even worrying about them, which is a great way to be patient.
Yes.
Like, set it, forget it, move on.
The work is already done.
Plant the seed.
You're just patient with it.
It'll come to fruition.
Right.
And it did. And so that was really exciting.
Yes. That's awesome.
Good for that. And then the other big thing right now that we're working through, about, if anyone listened to the last podcast,
that's
adoption is a big thing for us that we're working towards. And so we worked on our home study in July. And so I got the email today, hey, I'm almost done with your home study. These are the final documents we need from you. So
nice.
That was something that I was excited waiting for.
Right.
I wasn't frustrated waiting for it.
Wow.
I was like, okay, this is a process. And I did reach out to her, say, hey, how's it coming? Do you need anything from us? But it was never a sense of frustration. Like, oh, gosh, this is taking forever. We're never going to get to adopt.
Just being available.
Yeah. So.
No, I thought about it a lot because you mentioned in the last episode. And I was like, wow, not comparing, but I'm like, I have little opportunities to be patient, obviously, but Kat has a big opportunity. So I wonder how that's going to work out.
Yeah.
Just waiting for the answer, but very happy to hear that you're using it as an opportunity to be patient and it's going well in terms of it's not causing too much anxiety because you're aware of it.
I think we started the process. I wanted to start the process this year. We knew that we probably were ready for a child to come into our home sometime next year.
Yeah.
And so we thought, all right, well, it takes a while to make it happen. So we better start mid-year and then we'll probably align properly with our time frame. And so now there's kind of like a little bit of anticipation of, oh, well, what if we end up with a placement earlier than next year? That's exciting. But also being comfortable with the current trajectory of expecting it to not really happen until next year. So it's a little bit easier to be patient in a situation where we've started early with putting our ducks in a row, so to speak. So, but yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for caring on that.
Of course.
So one of the things that I asked myself was, how often am I getting bored and quitting because I'm not being patient for my desired result?
Right.
Does that happen for you?
Oh, yeah.
Because I think that happens for me a lot. I think I just lose interest in things because I'm not getting the result fast enough. And
I'm not seeing enough results, I guess I would say, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not being patient with the work because for whatever reason, I'm expecting more to come of it, I guess. And is that a me problem or the situation problem in terms of not receiving what I think I should be owed from all the work I put in, I guess.
Not being valued at the level and frequency at which you feel like you should be receiving. I may be underestimating the amount of effort that needs to go into something.
Oh.
And then not willing to put in that effort as I see that the amount of effort that I am putting into something is not really bringing the goal to fruition, then perhaps I would quit at that point. But I don't want to quit things.
No.
I also don't want to go after things that aren't really serving me.
Right. There's room, I guess, to reflect on, I don't know if that's exactly patience. I was just weighing the opportunity is to reflect on, is it what you want? Like I said earlier, is it what you want? But yeah, maybe I can get bored being patient.
I think I do get bored.
That's
I think
a problem.
Get bored with some things. And I think, okay, well, this isn't giving me, in the process of achieving this thing, it's not giving me the desired reward excitement.
Right.
And so I probably give up too early on many things. I think of a lot of things that I could have achieved by now if I had really stuck with it.
Right.
And I know that they would be giving me a great deal more income, which when you're in a balanced relationship, additional income
always
generally equals happiness.
That's true.
Money does not buy happiness.
It's true.
But
affords you more opportunities.
If everything else is going well in life, a little extra money is often an additional way to become elated.
I hear that.
So I do wish that I had been that I had persevered more on things, but it's okay. I'm happy with who I am and where I am, but I could be on another level.
Yeah.
If I had followed through. I don't know. I'm okay with it.
I could wax eloquence about that. Contentment. I don't know how much it tags directly on to patience. Contentment. Hard work.
One of the things that I was trying to consider was what people in the past had to be patient for. So
male.
I mean,
that's all I think about.
In the distant past, okay? That's true, actually. 2,000
waiting
years
on your
ago,
lover.
Yeah, to come back from war.
Yeah, that's all I think about.
It's interesting to me that it's one of the items in the fruits of the Spirit. And in our day today, we have everything, it comes to us so quickly.
Right. At your fingertips.
So quick. And it's with AI, it's coming even faster. So I thought, gosh, well, in biblical times, what did people even need to wait for? Like, what were they? Half the people probably didn't even write.
Right.
So they weren't maybe they were waiting
They were waiting for rain because that's their income.
Oh, that's
true. They were waiting for life and death situations. Gosh. You don't eat if the weather's not right. So you're waiting to, I don't know, live every day as your last.
Gosh, that's true.
That's what I'm reflecting on is they had no like guarantees about the future in terms of where they thought they would be. I mean, none of us do, but in terms of like earning your livelihood, they had to be dependent on so many external factors. Whereas maybe that's why we're control freaks nowadays, is because we can achieve so much and everything's at our fingertips. We believe we're in control so much.
Yeah. hadn't thought about it that way.
But
Just thought some people were control freaks and some people weren't.
yeah,
Maybe we're all becoming control freaks because we can control so much.
right. We're being conditioned that way. That's part of the reason I tag on earlier about being worried I quit things, because I'm conditioned to want to see the results so fast.
Yeah.
Work ethic.
Well,
They had work ethic back
yeah.
then.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
I
good
question my
mental
work ethic
exercise.
sometimes, but most of the time I feel confident about how much effort I'm putting in. So hopefully I'm not fooling myself.
Right. I just thought every day I was looking for other patient people. I had a lot of good patient examples. I hung out with my dad a lot. He was very patient with me. Role models for patients. That's what I was saying. Because I was
Actively
bad,
being patient.
actively being patient. I'm a role model for not being patient every day. But then I was thinking, these days I have such sympathy for, customer service workers. So every time I was waiting on a server, I was like, I'm definitely going to be patient this month with service people, because they deal with so many impatient people. I was like, I'm not going to be that person.
Yeah.
And, I was encouraged by all the positive, interactions I had with when I waited. It's not like they thanked me for waiting. Well, a lot of the time they do. You're patient in weird situations. But yeah, the service, that's when I could be patient the most.
Yeah. I always feel bad when a server is like, oh, I'm so sorry for the wait. I'm like, I appreciate you saying that, but
yeah.
I hope you're not actually sorry, because it wasn't that much of a wait. You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
So let me just tell you, thank you for making me a sandwich.
Thank you.
Because it is delicious and I don't make them this good.
Yes. Thank you for your help.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad that your dad and you were able to spend some time together. And
did you ever answer the prompt we had written down? Well, I wrote down at least. Did patients take your time today? I think that was like a leading prompt I had for myself, because I was like, I know how I want to answer that, so might as well.
So, yes. There was one trying day where a family member needed to have a procedure done, and that procedure did not get started on time. And I was committed to being at the hospital for the procedure that day.
Right.
And so I was frustrated that things weren't moving along as scheduled, because it was a Monday and I needed to get stuff done.
Yeah.
So, and so by the end of the procedure, there was a moment of Kat losing her cool.
Ooh.
Because the patient was not in as much of a hurry to leave the hospital as Kat was. And so, yes, it took my time away, and I complained about it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that one counts.
Right.
Because I lost my cool. And in hindsight, I wish that I had reacted differently. I still needed to communicate my frustration about the situation, but I also want to be providing or giving the respect to my family members as they're due that respect. And I didn't, so I'm a little bit, I failed that test. Got a D on that one.
Yeah, but
it took my time away. What about you?
Yeah, I waited 5 hours in the ER this month too.
Yeah.
So hospital procedures is a very difficult place to be patient. But it's also, there's a mental exercise I have about, like, I don't want to offend anyone or interrupt. I don't want to be that guy that you're like, yes, I know you wanted something, but there's also this little sneak of doubt, especially when you're waiting 3 hours. I was like, did we not do something correct? Like, I want to flag a nurse down and be like, are you sure we're on the list to get a room or whatever? Because we've been waiting a long time, but everyone's frustrated in the ER. So it's such a difficult place to exist. and wait for, service. And you're like, well, I don't know what else to do.
We
could leave.
We should have recorded this podcast in the waiting room of
Yes.
the ER. That's the perfect
be,
place to develop patience.
That would be difficult.
Yeah, no, that would be too loud. But
yeah, I don't have any good things about that.
So that was
other than I waited in the hospital too. Oh,
Yeah.
There's one that was saying, did patients take my time? And I was like, yes, but I'm grateful for that opportunity for peace, because I was waiting. So you can worry every second about waiting and what I could be doing better. How I could be using my time other ways. But then you can focus and be like, if there's stillness, there's not stillness in the ER. This was another point. But there's peace in waiting if you're in the right headspace.
Yeah.
Which is impossible to do sometimes.
Yeah. And again, back to the muscle memory. The more we practice, the more we try, the better we'll be at it coming naturally to us. So this is a quote from the book that I was reading about compounding. And the guy says, every time we do challenging things, we are reinforcing champion neural pathways. Every time we succumb to temptation or are lazy, we reinforce neural pathways that will turn us into a shell of our potential long-term self. And that was big for me because I wasn't thinking about it that way.
Yeah.
The muscle memory thing, the neural pathways, same thing.
Yes.
I wasn't thinking about how we're truly strengthening ourselves, molding ourselves into a being that's capable of so much more.
Yes.
When we actually intentionally practice patience.
Yes.
So
the idea of diet and exercise is more than just physical, baby. I'm thinking mental and emotional this month as I'm getting in the gym in my mind and focusing on joy and patience. It's strenuous. That's the other thing.
Right.
It's not like it's less hard than actually going to the gym. There's still a lot of effort, but it's also the same of reward, getting stronger and getting better.
So true.
Getting more consistent.
So true.
Just like my golf game. That's what I'm focused on, baby. Awesome. Well, we hope you have a lot of opportunities to be patient this month after you listen to this. Maybe you'll use it more wisely than we did. And thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. Be looking for our next episode next month is faithfulness. So if you want to work on it, you can work on it too and journal like we're doing. But hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. And we'll see y'all later.
See ya.
Bye.